Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Ball Hawks podcast here on the Dean Blundell Network. Happy Canadian Thanksgiving to everyone out there. I saw some funny thing. You have some American followers on Twitter. You have some Canadian followers. I saw a little bit of banter today about the spelling of things, and I don't know. Maybe I'm just really petty with stuff like that, but I got a good laugh out of it, good little amusement. So. No matter which way you spell favorite, we are your favorite podcast here on this Monday Thanksgiving here in Canada. I'm your host, Steve Fisher, and I am joined by the newly skinned, the first time ever he has gone this low with his hair, Christopher Phillips. You look, I was going to say you look really impressed with those comments, but
it's not the first. It's not the first time ever.
You told me it was the first.
Wow. I mean, first time by choice.
This isn't like we're teenagers and your parents like strap you down and just shave
No,
your head.
teenager, correct. Strapped down, almost rookie hazing.
Yeah.
Same where there was no guard on the Clippers that night. It was just right down, and like I was skinny as a teenager. I was like 120 pounds, like just skin and bones. So my best friend's dad called me Smeagol after I got my head shaved. It was just scary. Oh yeah. It was. So that's a big reason why I didn't shave my head for it's been like 20 years. The emotional scarring that exists from that event. And I was worried of also coming back, just, walking out of the barbershop being like, my precious, but luckily I put on a few pounds since then. So I don't look like Gollum or Schmeagol or whatever the hell. Can I just talk really quick about something that grinds my gears?
All the time.
Why don't we say Canadian Thanksgiving? Why don't we just say Thanksgiving? Like, why do we have to differentiate between the two? Like, you don't ever say like American Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving. So like, sure, we celebrate at different times, but like, why don't we just? I don't understand why like it's always you always have to be thrown in there that it's Canadian Thanksgiving.
Well, maybe I'm in the minority. I'm going to give a quick shout out to Cookies Be Good is back, tuned into our live stream here, and says oatmeal chocolate are the best. I can't disagree. I do like oatmeal chocolate. Oatmeal raisin still, they're just, I don't know why. I'll take either one of those. Oatmeal raisin, definitely. Chris, I think I'm actually in the minority with a lot of people because I know exactly what you're talking about. I actually do say happy American Thanksgiving because you're right. It's not my Thanksgiving. So like, I guess that's the way I differentiate it. Maybe it's because I know quite a few of our followers are from the States and, if it isn't in America, it isn't a thing. So you kind of have to differentiate there.
See, and maybe that's what it is. Like we were talking today about, cause it's Carter's birthday tomorrow. And it's been a bit of a thing in our household this past few days. Somebody may or may not be jealous that it's not her birthday, and that her birthday isn't on Thanksgiving weekend. And we were having a talk about that. I'm like, but Olivia, your birthday is on Thanksgiving every year. She goes, no, Dad, that's American Thanksgiving.
It's not the same thing. Okay.
Yeah, I don't get turkey dinner that weekend.
Yeah, I mean, if you play, you can play it so you get turkey both weekends. Who knows?
Yeah, but yeah, that's just something that's always like I saw it a bunch, being thrown around. Of course, this weekend, the last 2 days especially, and it just I don't know. It's something that's always kind of like just grinds my gears. Or I'm like, it just I don't know. We don't need to say it. It's just, and I know Ryan said like otherwise when it happens again in America in November, people will say, wait, again? But they won't. Like, nobody will say, oh, wait, it's Thanksgiving again? Like, people are people are smart enough to understand that there's different countries and different countries celebrate different holidays at different times. Like, I don't know. I just don't think it needs to be said. Thanksgiving, it's Thanksgiving weekend in Canada. It's Thanksgiving weekend in the United States. It's just, just say it's Thanksgiving. But cookies be good. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for joining us again. Oatmeal chocolate, I'm out. Not a fan at all.
Just full out.
I love chocolate chip cookies. I love oatmeal raisin cookies. But for some reason, when you blend the two together, I'm completely out on them. And I can't explain it. I hate them.
Really?
Yeah.
Like even like the dad's cookies. Like that's where my head goes first, is like, if you're going to have oatmeal chocolate chip, they've got to be the dad's ones because, well, dad's cookies are the best.
Dad's goodie rings are the best.
Well, now this feels a little more like the Ball Hawks podcast, right? Like now we're starting to disagree on things.
Did you know they actually? I think they actually discontinued the goodie rings. But yeah. Oatmeal chocolate chip. I don't know. Miss me with that because I'm out on it.
Interesting. Okay, lots happened in the NFL. A lot more than like your regular week. I feel like this week things just hit the fire and took off running. The first one that we want to talk about today is Matt Rhule is out as the Panthers head coach. This was, what were we, like 5 games in? Yeah. Good Lord. I can't even count anymore. 1, 2, 5 games into his 3rd season. They still owe him $40 million. And then there was a press conference with the owner, David Tepper, and obviously one of the Panthers media guys. And it actually started to get a little like awkward. Like, do we still listen? What do we do with our hands? I'm like, oh, Doyle, he doesn't rule anymore. Great line, Ryan.
Ryan, were you just reading my mind? Because that's exactly what I was like. I'm sure Ryan could like see the gears like turning in my head and be like, Chris is going to make an O'Doyle joke. So thank you, Ryan, for beating me to the punch. Always very timely with that. So
that's good.
O'Doyle rules.
O'Doyle rules. I love how they said it going down the cliff and everything. Like, we're doing it to the very end. Does this make Carolina a better team? I've been talking to people about this. No. Like, you don't think this makes them a better team?
No, they still don't have they still don't have a quarterback.
Well, they might now that Baker's injured.
Yeah, but like, I don't know, like there's something's going on there. And I guess maybe you could pin it on coaching, but like, is the chemistry not right? Or like, is there, I don't know, is there too many mouths to feed? Is it, I don't know. Cause I haven't paid attention to a single Carolina Panthers game, yet this season, or probably last season, or probably the season before that. So Matt Rhule's entire tenure in Carolina, I wasn't really paying attention. Like
within fantasy football stats here and there,
man, like no lie. When I saw today that he had been the coach in Carolina for the last 3 seasons, I was blown away. I thought he was just hired there. I was like, what?
This time go in my life.
Yeah. Didn't they just hire him? But I mean, I guess blame it on the pandemic, folks. Blame it on when in doubt, blame COVID. I don't think it does make them a better team. They have a lot of pieces for sure. They have a lot of talent, but I think they're not quite there yet. And I mean, now there's talks that it's going to get blown up. So who knows?
Yeah, I mean, if you were on the Twitter machine, every team's fan base was like, oh, let's go trade for DJ Moore. Oh, let's trade for Christian McCaffrey. Oh, let's trade for Brian Burns. Like, everybody was picking stars out of Carolina and just saying, you're coming to my team and you're coming to my team. And I don't think that's how it is.
Apparently Buffalo's reached out on McCaffrey.
I did see that. I think teams are reaching out. Whether that means you're going to trade your best player, your face of your franchise, I don't know. I don't know what it means. It's not looking good there. Yeah, very, very interesting one. But how about This was my favorite storyline of the whole week, and I should have led off with this. Brian Robinson being ushered into his first game only 6 weeks after being shot to 50 Cent's Many Men. Did you watch the video clip, Chris?
I saw the clip. Yeah, I probably should have downloaded it.
That was another joke for you.
Yeah,
Chris was the one who sent it to me, and then a day later, I said to him, "Hey, Chris, did you see this yet?" He goes, "Yeah, Steve, I sent the clip, just so you know."
yeah.
When I asked you that, I did not remember that.
Just like dinero is Spanish for money.
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
What a cool story, though. Like, you just see how amped up the guys are for him. Pretty impressive that just 6 weeks. He was shot twice in the leg, right? Is that?
Yeah.
I think. I mean, I've never been shot, so I don't know how big of a deal that is. The commander still lost.
I mean,
it's no, like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't really put myself, a guy has an ACL injury and I'm like, well, I've torn my ACL. I can kind of like understand some of the things they're going through. I have no damn clue what being shot feels like. Thank whatever God I believe in. But unfortunately, the Commanders still suck. And Ron Rivera, did you see his comments?
I loved it. Yeah. Why is your team struggling so much more than the rest of the NFC East teams? Quarterback. Oh, you mean the guy that you just traded for? Like, just traded for like 5 months ago?
Like,
he's the problem?
An absolute sewering by it. Like, I don't remember the last time I've heard a coach specifically point one person out so emphatically. Like, we're good. He just sucks, and I wish we would have not traded for you. Essentially,
that's what I mean. Like, I just don't get it. Like, how did you not know what you were getting with Carson Wentz? It's not like we're dealing with a small sample size here. Like, the guy's bounced around quite a bit, and he's been the same guy the entire time. So, like, either you weren't watching football for the last 3 years, like I wasn't watching football for the last 3 years, apparently, and you're just like, Carson Wentz, yeah, he was drafted high once upon a time, wasn't he? Like second overall? Yeah, sure. Trade the farm for him.
Yeah,
like, Riverboat Ron.
They obviously didn't trade the farm for him, but like, why did you trade anything for him? Like, did you actually think you were contending this year? Like, that's got to be the only explanation, right? Like, we've got a good defense, we've got lots of pieces on offense. Anybody should be able to come in and take this team to some victories.
Isn't that 2 years in a row now, too, that somebody's just poo-pooed all over Carson Wentz? Didn't Jim Irsay, the owner of the Colts, do it last year, too?
I think there were, I was trying to remember.
Or at some point in the offseason, I think he said something.
Something like that. Stop trading for him. You know what he is. Make him your backup. Like, that one shocks me so much because Riverboat Ron has always had such a, like, I don't know, infatuation for, what is it, Taylor Heineke, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
He loves that guy. So why didn't you just make him your starter? They drafted Sam Howell, who might not be ready to start, but I don't know, hitch your wagon to some other thing. It's kind of like the Antonio Gibson thing. Like, I know Robinson is just coming back. Obviously, he's going to be the bell cow there, but like, if you didn't want Antonio Gibson on your team, why didn't you just get rid of him? Anyways, enough of the Commanders because they suck. Another team that sucks that's trying to make a little bit of headway. This one was a really good pickup for them, actually. The Cleveland Brownies traded for former Pro Bowler Dion Jones. These trades are always so strange to me. You've got a guy who is 27 years old, so he's not young. He's not overly old or anything like that. He's been a really good linebacker in the league, and I think it was they traded him and a 7th to Cleveland for a 6th. Like, these trades are so bizarre to me. Like, did you actually just trade a guy to move up at the very end of a draft? I don't know.
I don't get it. Like it makes I don't understand why Atlanta like is Dion Jones like did he fall off that much? Like is he at this point in his career like I said he's only 27 years old, which Steve that is still pretty young considering we're much older than that.
We are.
Like did he fall off that big? And at this point, like it's just like he's just a name where I hear Dion Jones, I'm like, oh yeah, that guy. Like he's good,
Like,
right? Like
I was obviously I totally I'm in the same spot as you. Like I forgot that he was a player in the league kind of thing. He had season ending or off season shoulder injury or something like that. So he hasn't played yet. He's still on the IR. But if you're Atlanta, like you're not that good.
right.
What does a 6th round pick do for you to not have like a leader in the clubhouse, a guy who like solidifies the middle of your defense? Like, what does a 6th round pick do unless, and I was looking, it's not even like a cap dump really. So that one's confusing to me. Don't get it.
That was gonna be my next question is it a contract thing? Like I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. And then like what about JOK? Isn't JOK like are they both the same position? I don't know. I don't understand 3-4 defenses. Like I don't understand where the linebackers play. Fun fact, neither do the Seahawks linebackers, but that's a different story.
Great. Okay, there. Let's do one more that's like kind of head scratching. How about if I told you the Philadelphia Eagles would be the only undefeated team in the league? Would you have bid on that one?
No, probably not. But I mean, I don't know. It's have they again? I like I've really only been watching the Seahawks this year, so I'm
very obvious right now.
Yeah, like this is low expectation season. So like I'm really just watching the Seahawks and putting on my blinders to everything else going on around me. Have they played anybody? Like who have they beat?
Okay, so week 1 they beat the Lions, who in week 1 you probably said, "Oh, whatever. You barely beat the Lions, big deal." But looks like the Lions are kind of a good team this year actually. Like
Wow.
They're making people work hard.
They did well. They did get shut out this week.
Yeah. they have been playing well. I'm gonna throw it out there. They've been playing fairly well. Week 2 they beat the Vikings, who've been playing a lot better than people have expected.
Yeah,
they beat the Commanders, they beat the Jaguars, and then they just beat the Cardinals. So it's not like
I would get the only one out of that list where I'm like, okay, yeah, that's impressive is the Vikings. The rest of them, I'm like, yeah, they probably nope.
Really?
Really?
I don't know.
The Cardinals are a all-name team.
You think they're better just on the merits of who they are rather than they're actually a good team?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's do this. The Philadelphia Eagles, tell me when their next loss is. So when do they not become undefeated? Next week, they play Sunday Night Football against the Cowboys, but they're at home. Do they win that? Against Cooper Rush and the Cowboys?
I was going to say, it depends who's at quarterback, right?
Cooper Rush has been playing well.
But I'm going to say, yeah, they probably win that one at home.
Okay, they win that one. Week 7, they're on their bye. Week 8, they play the Steelers at home.
Yeah, they win that one.
They win that one. Then they go to Houston to play the Texans.
Yeah, they win that one.
Okay, so now we're, 8? 5, 6, 7, 8. We're 8. No, okay, I can count. Remember, I said at the start of the show I can count. Then they go back home to play the Commanders.
Yeah, they're gonna beat the Commanders again.
They beat that one. How about at Indy to play the Colts?
I think they beat the Colts. It'll be closer than people think, but I think they beat the Colts.
So they're 10-0. This is becoming a storyline now.
Yeah.
Then they go back home to play Ivermectin and the Packers.
That one's tough. That one's tough. You know what? Give me the home team. When I can't decide, I'll take the home team. So I guess
That's
give
so
me the
funny.
Eagles.
I do the exact same thing. Whenever it's a toss-up, I will always give it to the home team.
Yeah, so give me the Eagles, I guess.
Okay, we're 10 now, right?
11, I think.
11. So we're 11-0 into December. They then host the Titans at home. So 2 back-to-back home games.
Yeah, they beat the Titans.
Now we're 12-0. Then they go to New York to face the football Giants.
Yeah, they beat the Giants.
Oh, this is a real story here, Chris. That's 12-0.
Yeah.
Then they go to Chicago to play the Bears.
That's a win.
13-0. Then they go to Dallas to play the Cowboys.
What day is that game on? I don't
That
know.
one is Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve.
Oh my goodness.
That's when the Cinderella story ends.
That's when it ends.
Yeah. Although, like, they could very well lose next week to the Cowboys. If and when they lose, I think the first loss will be against the Cowboys, whether that's this week or Christmas Eve.
And you were kind of humming and hawing because they have to go to Dallas there. So there would only be 2 games remaining on their schedule. If you're wrong about that one, then they play the Saints at home and then the Giants at home again.
Saints would, I think, would give them a good challenge for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you know what? If this happens, this will be one of the bigger, I guess, predictions. That means they would go 13-0.
Oh, 13-0 before their first loss.
13-0 before their first loss. I can't even remember the last team that went for 13 straight wins. It's been a while. Well, I didn't even plan on doing that. Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Part of me wants them to go 13-0 now, just to say you were right.
Ryan Hank chipping in here, saying they'll lose to Green Bay. Unlikely Philly has that kind of magic. And that's why I kind of hummed and hawed on that Packers matchup. But the Packers just, I don't know, they don't seem to have any receivers, and I think that team's going to fall off the tracks pretty quickly. It started this week with the loss to the Giants, and I think you're going to start seeing a few more of those things, and I don't know, probably look for Ron and LaFleur to be packing their bags together and skipping town at the end of the season.
Yeah, that one's really interesting to me though, because like you would think, okay, the Eagles are 5-0. There's no way they're going to go undefeated in the season. Like nobody thinks that, even though they're off to a good start. And then you start going through the games and you start thinking, okay, that's a win. That one's a win too. That one's a win too. Yeah, that's close, but they're at home, so I'll give them the win. They could very well be 13-0. And like you said, the Packers, good defense, still a really good defense, good run game, but just nothing in the passing game right now. It is
questionable passing game, questionable offensive line outside of David Bakhtiari. I think the wheels are going to fall off there. The wheels of cheese.
Wow. What kind of cheese? It was like a wheel of like Parmigiano.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that because I was just watching The Amazing Race and they were toting around big wheels of Parmesan in Italy. So that's the one.
I was watching this one documentary and apparently the wheels have to get like serial numbers stamped into them because it's like one of the largest counterfeit productions in the entire world, like claiming that it's like true Parmesan cheese, like out of wherever that region in Italy is that you can get it from, because it's
the
really
cow's udder.
Yeah, I don't think it works that way, Chris, but nice try.
They put serial numbers on it right as it comes out of the teat.
They're trying to market into the milk. Probably put a microchip in it, I bet, Chris.
Yeah, they're microchipping the shit out of that cheese.
Quick, someone get me my tinfoil hat right now.
Get your ivermectin, folks.
It'll save you from everything. Okay, enough of this. Let's talk about just the NFL teams we care about, because no other teams really matter, right?
As I clearly pointed out about 10 minutes ago.
This is the first week in maybe like a calendar year where I watched both of our teams this week. You know, like being a good host of this show, I should probably be watching the Seahawks. I don't. I kind of take what you say at face value. I watch like little clips here and there, enough to seem like I know what I'm talking about, but we both know I don't. I got to watch the Ravens game on kind of Canadian Thanksgiving. I said that just to piss you off. We were having turkey dinner, and I watched.
Isn't that the other funny thing about Canadian Thanksgiving? How it's Thanksgiving is technically Monday,
yeah,
but the vast majority of us celebrated on the Sunday.
Yeah, because
why is that?
You know, maybe a couple too many pops. You have a couple too many plates of turkey, and you're like, I need to sleep this one off. Like,
I guess the United States version, like they get their Thanksgiving, which again, I think that, and any of our American friends, correct me if I'm wrong, but do you guys not do your turkey as kind of like a late lunch, early dinner? Like, aren't you guys eating at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon rather than doing it as like proper dinner? And then they get Black Friday off, so then they still have that that kind of carryover day to lay around and in their sweatpants, sweating out turkey grease and too much booze.
Now, do you just think that they have it at like 3 o'clock because you're maybe like connecting with people on the East Coast and you forget?
No, I've probably watched too many American sitcoms.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like Friends, when they have like the midday. Yeah.
Home Improvement, Friends, you know, all the good ones.
Yeah. The classics.
Yeah.
And if you're lucky, you get Nickelback at the halftime show in Detroit. Ryan, you are full of randomness, and that's why we love you.
This is the first time in years that I'm going to have to work on American Thanksgiving and won't be able to watch football all day because I'll be at work.
Oh, you know what you need? You need to get the DAZN app and DAZN, and you just watch it on your handheld.
Oh, I like the way you think.
Yes, I've never done that before, in case anyone is listening. Yeah. So I watched.
So that's what's wrong with the youths of today.
So the Ravens played the Sunday Night Thriller. They hosted the Bengals. I watched 3 quarters and about 12 minutes of it on mute because we were in the middle of having dinner. Long story, I got down to the TV a little late when it started, and people were just watching it on silent. So I was like, whatever, I don't actually need people to tell me what's going on. I had a great time either way. Game started off, you know, news that franchise left tackle Ronnie Stanley was making his 2022 debut after sitting out basically all season last season. So that was really good news to have him back. He was on a limited snap count.
So was it his 2022 debut or like a really delayed 2021 debut?
Yeah. You're like, how does that actually work? He was supposed to come back. Yeah, I mean, anytime you can get a guy who is, you know, the franchise left tackle coming back, it's going to make things better. Like I said, he was on a snap count. They had, you know, Patrick McCarry coming back off of his injury to play quite a few snaps in Stanley's non-playing, but I know there was a lot of like just uncomfortableness when I saw him sitting on the bench, and I the TV was muted, so I had no idea what was going on. And I'm like frantically checking Twitter, being like, oh my God, did he get injured again? Like his first game back, he's done again. This cannot be happening.
Excuse me, I need to go to the washroom. Man, Steve has gone to the washroom a lot.
Yeah, they would catch on to that way too quickly.
Every time they show the Ravens bench, Steve has to go to the bathroom. What's going on?
He is nervous, that's for sure. Yeah, turns out the injury bug is still hitting the Ravens. Not with Ronnie Stanley, but there was news that Marcus Williams, their prized free agent safety, who's been playing his ass off and has just been solidifying the back end, dislocated his wrist. And apparently he tried going back into play, and they're like, no, like, let's just hold you out for a bit. We'll do some x-rays at halftime. And then they found out it was a dislocation. So he's going on the IR, but it is not a season-ending injury from what I've heard. I can't imagine how a dislocated wrist isn't a season-ending injury, but hopefully he heals up fast. He was a really big presence on the back end for the team. They did obviously have a rotation of guys. Geno Stone was in there. Chuck Clark is still back there at safety. Rookie Kyle Hamilton. A lot of chatter on Twitter about how Geno Stone was out snapping Kyle Hamilton. So, of course, the world's falling apart again. And it's like, oh my gosh, our rookie safety, 14th overall, why isn't he playing? Does he suck? Oh, what a bust of a pick. I think people need to stop doing stuff like this. We won the damn game. Enjoy it. Like, for once this year, they have won at home after leading for the vast majority of the game. They ended up closing it out. So I'm happy. Sucks for Marcus Williams. Rookies are still rookies. There's growing pains involved. The world is not falling. Kyle Hamilton will take over that job. Not the free safety spot, but he will be the starter come next year. He's too talented not to. It was really fun getting to watch the Ravens defense of old dominate Joe Burrow. Like there's just, I think I hate Burrow so much more because of his time at LSU. And he was always such a smug prick there, but he's good, which makes it worse. And then he gets into the NFL and just happens to be in the Ravens division, just happens to be on a team that's like making all the right moves, and he looks good again, and he's a smug prick still. I don't know, like, what, from somebody who's not in the division, Chris, what's your opinion of Joe Burrow? Like, is he just kind of like a fun player to watch, or does he come across as a smug prick?
No, he's fun to watch. I like Joe Burrow. He's fun to watch. I'm sure I've told you this before. I've got a little soft spot for the Bengals. From the back in the Chad Ochocinco era.
No, you haven't told me that.
Yeah, I know. Friends off, podcast's over, and break. Yeah, no, I like Chad Burrow. I can see Chad Burrow. Yeah. Remember what I said? I was going to make sure to like not yawn during the show.
You're doing a good job.
Instead, I'm just going to show my ass.
No, that's only Giants players.
But no, I
see that in this podcast.
I can see how he would come across as a smug prick. Both Chad and Joe Burrow come across as smug pricks, I'm sure. I don't know. I get a kick out of it, like hearing little things where like he goes to Jamar Chase and be like, Jamar, like, you need to tell me how to dress. Like, here's my money. Like, go buy me clothes and tell me how to dress. Like, I just think that stuff's hilarious. So.
Yeah. Obviously, the thing that was playing on Twitter from Ravens fans was his press conference being like, if you want to, sit back in coverage, I'm paraphrasing here, sit back in coverage, then you have to deal with Joe Mixon in the run game. And if you decide to go cover zero and go man, then good luck, basically. And so that it was nice to see that he, just just got a little taste of humble pie. Like it's just really nice to see it, especially from him, because he had a bad game. And it was because the Ravens defense looked dominant like the old days. Like Patrick Queen was flying around the field, got that big interception. Marcus Peters is the biggest badass. Like, you want this guy on your team all the time. I don't know what your opinion of Peters is, but when he was coming to Washington, I loved him. When he got drafted by the Chiefs, I hated it. I love Marcus Peters.
I've wanted Marcus Peters since he was coming out of Washington. I'm pretty sure, cousins with Marshawn Lynch, or he's super close with Marshawn Lynch or something like that. And I was like, come on, Marshawn, like, pull some strings here and make this happen. And same thing, like, he went to the Chiefs. I was like, God damn. And then he got released. I was like, all right, come on. Like, this is the time. It didn't happen. But yeah, no, I love Marcus Peters. I love his, just his attitude. Like, you need guys like that.
Yes, I was just gonna say that. Like, he seems like he's part of that old guard of football players that is kind of dying away, where they're just like, they play so damn close to that edge of going too far over the line, but they do it because they're such competitors, and they're just like, intimidating is probably like the only word I can use when you're playing against a guy that's that good and talks that much. Like, obviously the Bengals tried this kind of, they were doing a lot of wide receiver screens. Some of them worked and some of them weren't. They threw a wide receiver screen to Tyler Boyd, and he is right in front of Boyd as soon as he catches it, and basically just two-hand dummies him back, and Boyd goes flipping, and Marcus Peters does like the old like Ray Lewis kind of like swagger walk. And I didn't hear it because I was watching it on mute, like I said before, but I could imagine M&T Bank was just going nuts seeing that. I love Marcus Peters. Jason Pierre-Paul got his first sack as a Raven, which was kind of fun. The pass rush has been a point of question for a long time. Him and Odafe Owe seem to pair up really, really well, rushing the quarterback. Owe should have had a sack there. I'm not going to get too much into it, but this whole like saving the quarterbacks thing that has taken over the NFL lately, a couple blatant holds that were not called, and that guy's getting robbed of getting to the quarterback. The game ends in only Ravens fashion can. Justin Tucker goes out there, and I am not even nervous in the slightest that he's going to miss. And by this point, you know, we have the sound on, and my uncle is watching it there, and he's trying to get under my skin, being like, oh, he's going to miss this. There's going to be far left. And I just grin at him, and I'm like, you have no idea who's trotting out there. And of course, dead center down the middle, a clear reminder that Justin Tucker is the greatest kicker to ever play football. It is so fun having a weapon like that on your team, where you're like, doesn't matter if it's 43, 53, or 66 yards. I put my money on him every single time. One last thing before we get to some Seahawks stuff. There was a little maybe trouble in paradise. I don't know how you want to read into this. It'll be interesting as like an outsider looking in. There was a tweet. I should have taken the screenshot. Basically, this person on Twitter says, hey, Ravens, if you're not going to use J.K. Dobbins, could you just release him because this guy's a stud, basically. And J.K. Dobbins likes the tweet. And so everybody's going nuts, like, oh my gosh, J.K. Dobbins wants out of Baltimore. Yeah. I get it, though. The guy is such a competitor. Like, my fantasy team would love to have J.K. Dobbins playing 100% of the snaps, but there's still this thing called coming off of a huge knee injury that they're somewhat hesitant to just hand over the entire reins. Like, in New England, he got like just under 50% of the snaps. I think against Buffalo, he was right at 50. And then I think I saw somewhere against the Bengals, it was just under 50%. So they clearly have him on like a bit of a snap count. If your player likes a tweet about something like that, is it a big deal, or is it just one of those like, I just want to be used more. Like, I want it to be known that I'm a gamer. I'm not hurt. I want to play.
I mean, these guys are all professional athletes for a reason. Part of being a professional athlete, I mean, it's 90% skill, probably more than 90% skill and talent. But there's at least 10% or whatever the remaining amount is that's not skill is mentality, and a lot of that is ego. And I'm better than everybody else, and I'm good enough to be here. I can do this. I can compete. So yeah, of course he's going to see a tweet like that, and he's going to like it because he also feels like, yeah, I do want the ball more. I can take on more of a workload. My knee's fine. Let me go. Like take off the reins and let me be free. Like, so I don't think it's a big deal. Did he probably get brought into coach's office and get slapped on the wrist? Yeah, probably.
Do you think they actually do that? Do you think
I'm
they
sure
bring him in like, hey, like, I
I'm sure
get
they
it.
talk. I'm sure they talk about it. Like, I mean, Christ, I get like when I used to work at my old stupid job that I quit. I got brought in on more than one occasion about things that I post on social media. So if I'm getting talked to about it in my job where I don't make millions and millions of dollars, I definitely think that these guys, it at least is brought up as a conversation, just being like, hey, like, be more aware.
Do you think that's like a head coach that does that, or do you think it's like a PR relations guy? PR relation. That
I think it
was
should be the head coach. I mean, yeah, I think it should be a head coach.
Yeah.
It's probably the PR guy or the media guy that tells the head coach.
Yeah.
I don't imagine John Harbaugh is, cruising Twitter too much, but
He might have better things to do.
maybe
Ryan
Chad Harbaugh is, but not John.
Ryan can think of one moment where I'm guessing you should have been brought into the office to get talked to.
If you could please,
you never worked together, did you, at Jersey City?
Ryan and I, no.
Yeah. Oh, you never crossed
not
over.
Not in the same store. No.
No.
Feel free to share more, Ryan, because I really don't care.
Just hopefully your new boss doesn't listen to this podcast.
Oh, I've told my new boss. I told my new boss that at my old job I threw a set of license plates across the office. And she's like, well, good thing we don't do auto insurance here. So yeah.
Well, Chris, we don't have license plates here, so we're gonna let that one go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That wasn't at work, Ryan. Okay, it was that one time. Just that one time.
It was that one time on this other show we like to do. You kind of almost got us cut off. Okay, let's move on to some Seahawks stuff here, Chris. I know maybe not so happy. You've titled this episode Seahawks Can't Get Over the Hill, the Taysom Hill. Tell us about it.
Exactly. Yeah. The Seahawks, I should have seen it coming. And actually when it did happen, I wasn't surprised at all that the Seahawks got just absolutely Taysom Hilled this week. I think he had 3 rushing touchdowns plus 1 passing touchdown. Pretty good for a tight end, if you ask me.
If you recall and played him in the tight end position.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty good for a tight end, if you ask me, that's for sure. But whatever, man. It doesn't matter. Like, low expectation Chris does not care about the wins and losses. Honestly, all I care about right now is like, this is the season to, see what we got, plan for the future. And right now it's looking like the Seahawks absolutely nailed it with their 2022 draft class. Again, Charles Cross and Abe Lucas are looking amazing. Abe Lucas gave up his first sack of the season this year. But I mean, it was against Cam Jordan. So
I saw that. It wasn't even fair.
Yeah. It wasn't even fair. And the rest of the game, Abe Lucas did, pretty good against Cam Jordan. The Seahawks weren't leaving a tight end in. They weren't having, a running back come by and chip block them or or anything like that. So I think Abe Lucas did just fine. Charles Cross is also like holding up just fine on the left end. Our two rookie DBs are phenomenal.
So
Tariq with another interception, third game in a row with an interception. He had a fumble recovery as well, which was caused by our other rookie corner, Kobe Bryant. I mean, there's not a lot to complain about as far as the young guys go. And of course, I mean, we're put in a position where we have to see now as well what we have in Kenneth Walker III. Unfortunately, Rashad Penny suffered a season-ending injury. He got like as if a high ankle sprain isn't bad enough. He has a high ankle sprain and a broken leg. So
yeah.
he's Pete confirmed. What day is it? Monday today. Pete confirmed this morning on the radio that he has to get surgery and he'll be out for the year. So it's up to Kenneth Walker. But I mean, he scored his first career touchdown on a very nice 69-yard scamper to the end zone. So
good choice of words.
Yeah.
So I hate that for guys like Rashad Penny, who, has been battling some injuries. He was a first round pick, so, highly talented, battling some injuries. Last year, you were so pumped that he, came back, looked like the first round pick they invested in. And then is kind of playing this year on like a prove it kind of deal to make his, get his big contract. And heart goes out to those guys. I was reading somewhere today that Matt Rhule gets fired not even 2.5 years into his tenure, and he will still be paid $40 million of his contract. And Rashad Penny is going to lose a lot of money.
Yeah.
Heart goes out to that guy.
But I mean, it's not just the one injury that's causing Rashad Penny to lose money. It's been it's been 5 years of injuries, unfortunately. But like I said, it's the season of low expectations for me. So the fact that they lost this game, I mean, the fact that they were able to put up 32 points on a very good New Orleans Saints defense is impressive. Geno Smith looked amazing again. He had some fantastic plays. He's up for the FedEx Air Player of the Week award again this week. I think he had something like, I want to say it was like 250 yards or something like that. I can't remember the yardage, but he had 3 touchdowns. Should have had more. I mean, DK dropped one in the end zone. They had one called back on a ticky-tack holding call on Charles Cross.
That was
it was, and like the first touchdown of the game that Geno threw to DK was amazing. I mean, it was, I hate to say it, but it was right out of the old Russell Wilson playbook, right? Where he was scrambling around. He was approaching the line of scrimmage, looking like he was going to cross it, like take off with the ball and gain some yardage. And right as he got to the line of scrimmage, he kept his eyes downfield and he goes, oh, there's DK wide open. Floated it over to DK, and DK just, it looked like nobody on the Saints wanted to tackle him, and he just made it, just pranced into the end zone.
Would you?
No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't want to tackle DK Metcalf. I don't want to race DK Metcalf. I just maybe want to high five him, but that'll probably hurt my hand too. So
see, you know what? I thought you were a little cowardly today. I'm going to bring this up. I wasn't going to, but since you said you didn't want to race him, your young guy, your rookie corner, Tariq Woolen, hit some really ridiculous speeds.
22.93 miles per hour. Yeah.
You've been talking about his speed coming out of, his combine numbers.
Yeah, he's 6'4" and runs a 4.240.
Right. And so I obviously tweeted out, I think him and DK should race. You've got 2 ridiculously fast guys, 2 monster dudes. They're both big boys sprinting down the field. That would be a scary sight to see. I think he should do it though.
Yeah, they should race each other for sure. I'll time it.
Yeah.
I'll time it and be like, "Hey, you won." But
You're gonna
that's
tell the
what
other guy that he didn't win though.
Yeah, that's the extent of my like involvement in that race is maybe the official timer, and even then, my reaction time is probably not good enough to even like time it properly. So
4.78. That's it, Chris. You're dead. Oh,
yeah. All of a sudden, I'm running for my life. I would just say, I'm like, well, this is it. This is my fate, and I just accept it.
Fun way to go out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, hey, like who doesn't want to, get like just cardioed
by Lynn.
Yeah, cardioed to death by two professional athletes, like running for my life, and they're just toying with me, like jogging behind me.
They're like the orca whales coming in for their kill.
But yeah, I mean, otherwise, Seahawks have a lot to be desired on the defensive side. I mean, like I mentioned at the start there, like Taysom Hill just absolutely destroyed the Seahawks this weekend. Even late in the game, when there was no surprise what the game plan was, they were running the ball with Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill. They were running it right up the middle to run out the clock and end the game, and they were still able to do it. So I don't know what Seattle needs to do. I don't know if they need to move back to a 4-3 defensive scheme. I mean, Poona Ford has been basically non-existent this season. Darrell Taylor's been non-existent. Cody Barton's useless. Jordan Brooks missed some tackles this weekend. Even like Quandre Diggs, like I don't know if you saw my tweet, but like I've been noticing throughout the first 5 weeks of the season, like what's going on with Quandre? Like he is not making tackles, and he just, I don't know, it looks like he's making a lot of business decisions out there. Which maybe it's a mental thing, and like he's still not fully back mentally from the broken leg that he suffered last season. I'm not sure what it is. But there's something going on with Quandre because he's not making tackles. He's not playing as physically and aggressively as he normally does.
He's pulling the Tremont Williams.
Yeah. And I mean, speaking of guys, on the other side of the ball, I don't know what's going on with Tyler Lockett. Also, like Tyler Lockett's like, I'm 30 years old. Like, don't hit me anymore. Like, I want nothing to do with this. Like, he is not getting like 0 yak yards from Tyler Lockett. He's just catching the ball and falling on the ground. He doesn't want to get touched.
There's a couple plays where one, he grabbed the ball and kind of like lunged forward underneath like any sort of contact, and then there was one on the sidelines where he was going and it looked like he stepped out like a good like 4 or 5 yards before he really needed to.
Yeah, he's avoiding contact at all costs. So
well, he had a good game.
Whatever. He had a good game for sure. Geno Smith. I mean, Geno Smith threw 2 fucking beautiful touchdown passes to Tyler Lockett. Like, oh my god! I jumped off my couch and my daughter was laughing. Like she thought I was, Daddy, you're so silly. And my wife tells me I'm ridiculous. My daughter thinks it's funny, but yeah, it's, I don't know. It's like I said, low expectation. Chris doesn't care. I like I said, looks like a bright future for Seattle if they can replicate this year's draft next year and do hit just as many draft picks next year as they did this year. I mean, things are looking up, right? I mean, they've got 4 picks in the first. I think right now it's like they've got 4 picks in the first 45 picks or something like that. Like it's because the Broncos aren't doing well. So I think they have they have the 9th, the 12th, the 41st, and the 43rd. I think it is.
It's a nice.
So, right. I mean, if they can use one of those picks on a quarterback, which would be ideal, and then use those next 3 picks on like D tackle, edge, linebacker, like all of a sudden things are turning around in a real hurry for Seattle.
Yeah. Now, with how good Geno is playing, is he any sort of an answer, like any at all, or he's just merely a stopgap and he might be like a serviceable backup for them if they get a rookie?
Hey, Gino's playing great, and hats off to him. But he's a bridge player. He's 32 years old. This first time he started in, what is it, like 7 seasons or something crazy like that. Like he's not the future of the Seahawks. You don't tie your wagon to a 32-year-old career backup. Essentially, I mean, he was a starter for a short amount of time in New York, and then has been a backup ever since. So regardless of how well he's playing, what's that?
They can't go far with him.
No, I mean, no, they can't. I mean,
even if they surrounded him with like a ton of weapons, solidified the defense.
Hey, maybe you could get like one more, like, Cinderella story, like fairy book ending season out of him. But again, like he's on borrowed time himself as a 32-year-old professional athlete. So it's I think quarterback still needs to be a priority in next year's draft.
Yeah, that'll be really interesting too with the couple big quarterbacks that are coming out. If you're still sitting around that even 7-9th position and you've got some draft ammo, is there a team like we just saw the Vegas Raiders lose again, and they've got who they think is their franchise quarterback. Do they trade out of it? Do the Pittsburgh Steelers trade out of it because they just got Kenny Pickett? Are the Commanders dumb enough to pass up on somebody? Like these are the questions that could make this offseason really, really fun, especially if you're a team like Seattle who needs a quarterback, and there's some really good quarterbacks coming up. Like, how much are you willing to pay to jump up to number 2 to get those? Because we've seen those before, right? Like we're just talking about Carson Wentz and the Jared Goff draft. Like that was a year that teams moved up to go get who they thought were going to be like the next big things, right? Okay, we're gonna try a new segment here. We're kind of playing around with a few segments here. I think for the next little bit here, we're gonna maybe try a couple different segments, see which one hits, and maybe if you hit us up on social media and say, I want that one, or maybe we'll put a poll out. Who knows? We're kind of wild cards, so
a 39.5 foot poll.
Wow. Just full of randomness today, hey?
You've never seen The Grinch?
Yeah. I don't think of Christmas stuff. You know what? Unfortunately, I have been thinking of Christmas stuff because my son is on a Christmas tear right now. And I'm like, hey, you don't start talking about Christmas right now. Like, they're that person that's like, oh, guess what? There's 99 days until Christmas. And you're like, get out of here. It's still warm outside. Like, leave me alone.
You wore shorts today. You shut your mouth.
I wear shorts every day, so I'm okay over here. We're going to call this segment The Sky is Falling. And we're going to have this one presented by our good friends down at Bad Tattoo Brewing in Kelowna. Chris and I were just down there on Friday. Feels like a lifetime ago. What a long weekend.
Being a parent is so cool. You don't know what day it is.
It's very true. Most of the days I don't know what day it is, but when your kids are wild, it's even harder to remember what day it is. Huge thanks to Ryan down at Bad Tattoo who hosted us there. He was the hit of the party. Hey, like, you and I were the ones paying for our families to go down there and have some good pizza. And he comes out with his phone, switching the colors of his Bad Tattoo logo. And our kids were like, whoa, this guy is magic.
Yeah.
And then he comes out with ice cream sundaes for them. And they're like, okay, that's it. get out of here, dads. Like, moms, dads, you guys go away. This guy's much cooler. So thank you for the ice cream treats for the kids. I know my kids didn't really go to bed nicely. I don't know about yours.
Like you said, Friday was a lifetime ago, so I don't remember, man.
This is why I can't remember.
Yeah, I have no idea how my kids went to bed on Friday. I barely remember how I went to bed on Friday. So
Good thing Nadine drove.
yeah.
So if you guys are in Kelowna or in the area, go check out Bad Tattoo, downtown Kelowna. If you're not in Kelowna, they have the Bad Tattoo Beer Club that we were kind of plugging all last year, and they maybe have one of my favorite packs out there right now. It's called the Tall, Dark, and Full Bodied, which is right up my alley. That's why I said it, for that reaction, Chris. It has the chocolate peanut butter porter, which you guys heard me last year. Like, my fridge is absolutely full of it every fall. The one Chris just brought me back before I got to try it down at Bad Tattoo was the pecan pie one, which is unbelievable. I loved it. They've got the coffee lager in there. My wife is a huge coffee lager fan. I love them. They do a really good job of that one. It's nice and light. And then they've got their French toast porter for the four of them. So if you go to Bad Tattoo Brewing, you can get a flight of it, or you can do their beer club and get some, as Chris likes to dub it, damn good beer.
And don't forget, guys, they ship anywhere in Canada from coast to coast. So, like, get on it, folks.
Anywhere. They're gonna deliver it to your house. You don't even have to go anywhere. They just bring you beer. I don't know. I can't. It's just too easy. Too easy. Good packs. So Sky is Falling. New segment here. Basically, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back and forth, and we're gonna give the sky is falling moment, and you can tell the other guy whether it is warranted or whether it's an overreaction. You following me so far? I know you're a little tired here, Yanni.
Chad's here, man. Chad's here.
Chad's here. Okay, so my first overreaction, and we kind of talked about it. I didn't really want to talk about it that much. The Packers are going to miss the playoffs. That's my statement. Warranted or overreaction? Oh, I love how you have to think about this one already.
Overreaction. And it pains me to say that because I hate the Packers and I hate Aaron Rodgers and his stupid punchable face.
Now, do you think they're going to be the division winner or a wild card winner getting in? They're 3-2 right now behind the Vikings at 4-1.
Yeah, I mean, worst case scenario, they're at least a wild card team. That division, I mean, divisions are so hard to predict. They're still in a pretty, butter soft division with the Bears and the Lions still there, just existing. I mean, the Vikings and the Packers, like, obviously it's going to come down to those two teams. The Packers have the better defense. Maybe you could argue the Vikings have the better offense, but the Packers, much as it pains me to say, probably have the better quarterback. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to be a toss up between those two teams. And those divisional games are just so hard to predict.
They're so hard because the teams know each other so well.
Right.
And
I was going to
build your team to win the division first and foremost. Like,
yeah. So I'm going to say, like, to put it on record, they won't win their division.
Okay. How about we go through their remaining schedule again?
Sure.
They're at 3-2. They have the Jets next week. They're at home.
After the beating the Jets just put on the Dolphins, recency bias, right? I
have them losing it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think I have the Jets as well.
That could be an upset.
I think because again, it's going to come down to the receivers, and the Jets have Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed as their DBs,
they're playing good.
They're playing phenomenal,
they're
right? So
well.
I mean the
smart answer is the Packers beat the kind of up and coming Jets.
Yeah,
the football fan in me says, well, the New York Giants just beat them up.
Yeah.
So why can't I think the Jets are playing better than the Giants are. So why can't they win that game?
Yeah. And that's probably what, it's like I say, it's recency bias, and that's why I want to lean towards the Jets. But is it like, old boys club and like sticking with what I know as to why I think the Packers might even have a shot? So yeah, I'm going to say, give me the Jets.
Okay. So they're 3-3. Then they go to Washington.
Packers will win that one.
4-3. Then they go to Buffalo. Play the Bills.
Buffalo.
So now they're 500 again. Then they go to Detroit to play the Lions. Division game. Lions playing better. And they're only 4-4 right now.
I'll still take the Packers in that one. It's impossible for me to choose the Lions.
nothing tells you like this is a smart choice. Okay, so 5-4, then they play the Cowboys at Lambeau Field.
Cowboys, Dak will be back.
Dak will be back for that. So now they're 5-5. Then they play the Titans at Lambeau Field.
Packers by like the slimmest of margins.
Then they go to Philly to play the Eagles. I think you already said the Eagles win that one. I already
said the Eagles win that one, so I can't change
my 6-6. Then they go to Chicago to play the Bears.
Packers.
So 7-6. They get their bye. Then they play the Rams. The Rams go to Lambeau Field.
That one's gonna be tricky too, because the Rams are another team that's underperforming, right? They're definitely not playing up to expectations. But maybe the Packers will too. I don't know. Give me the home team. So give me the Packers.
Ooh, 8-6. Okay. Then they travel to Miami to play the Dolphins.
Packers. Because I think Tua's done for the season. So give me the Packers.
Okay, so 9-6. Then they play the Vikings at Lambeau.
Give me Kirk in the upset.
9-7, and then they play the Lions at Lambeau at the end.
Packers.
So 10-7 is going to be enough to squeak out a wild card position.
Yeah.
That's got to be the last wild card position, right?
Yeah.
Because right now we have the Rams outside looking in. We have the Saints outside looking in. We have the Cardinals outside looking in. All three teams could very well do something. Wow. Okay. So maybe it wasn't as I thought that was pretty overreaction, but again, you start breaking it down game by game and you're like, this might not be that big of an overreaction. Like if they lose that game in Detroit, there's the difference right there. Like the Detroit Lions just like mess everything up. Okay. Do you have an overreaction? I know I sprung this segment on you kind of last second.
Yeah, you did. I thought it was just gonna be like one of us picking one, not both of us picking one.
You're good at this football thing, Chris.
I'm so good at footballs.
Deflated ones, or
they're pretty deflated.
How about I'll give you a little bit of time to think of one?
I got one.
Oh, you got one. Okay.
Yeah, I got one. The Seahawks need to go out and make a trade for a running back with the loss of Rashad Penny.
Like how big of a running back are we talking? Are we talking about like maybe not Christian McCaffrey, but like an upper echelon?
Like they need
talking about like Kenyon Drake just slips through the cracks.
We're talking like someone that can be a 1B to a Kenneth Walker 1A, like somebody who's not just a depth guy, someone who's like a Kareem Hunt like we're not ready to give the keys to the car to Kenneth Walker type move.
Ooh. Oh my gosh, you're playing with my heart. So in my other league that I have, I drafted Kenneth Walker because I just thought he was going to take the job by the end of the year. I didn't need him to perform this year. My team sucks. I'm in a rebuild mode, but I'm like, hey, if there's like a high-end guy that could be a 1A, Kenneth Walker is going to be that guy. So you're playing with my heart a little bit here.
So Seattle's really low on depth at running back right now. They lost Rashad Penny. Travis Holm was already on IR. So right now they have Kenneth Walker and
the year.
Homer should be back. But they have DJ Dallas, Kenneth Walker, and then I think they just claimed Tony Jones.
Is that what that guy's name is?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, man, I didn't think the segment was going to be that tough. What am I doing to myself here? I'm going to also say overreaction, not because I don't think they could use it, but because I think the way you talk about Pete Carroll, he is stuck in his boys club. And if Travis Homer is coming back, if DJ Dallas is there, I think they have enough. But the tough part for me is I think we've talked about it before where Pete's not in this to rebuild. He is not coaching right now to get the next wave of Seahawks players. So I still think they're fine. And they go with Kenneth Walker.
So in that scenario, let's continue the game of what ifs like we just did with the Packers schedule. So continuing the game of what ifs, and I hope this doesn't happen. But let's say Kenneth Walker suffers an injury in 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It's week 9. It's past the trade deadline. And now Seattle has DJ Dallas and Travis Homer and this Tony Jones guy at running back. Did they make a mistake? Should they have made that trade? Or is it just you reap what you sow?
Oh, good Lord. I mean, if I'm speaking from experience, like this is the Ravens season last year, right? Like they have J.K. Dobbins go down. Then they have Gus Edwards go down. They already had Justice Hill go down. And everyone was like, we need to trade for somebody. Like we need to trade for like a bell cow type guy because of how much we run the ball. Seahawks are in the same position because they love to run the ball also. I just don't know if there are quality 1B type guys to be had on the trade market. Like I just think there's so much rare because we play fantasy football. We look at it and we're like, oh, look, like Melvin Gordon, like obviously he's not available now, but like he would have been available and this guy would be available because in our fantasy football teams, we trade people like that where it's like, oh, I can get rid of, AJ Dillon is my 1B. I'll trade him away for a wide receiver. But in the real world, that's not really how these things work. I think there's always like a veteran that can be kind of picked up and shuffled in kind of last second, or picking a guy up off of practice squads. Like who was it? Where did Latavius Murray just go to?
Denver,
right? No, we were just talking about them. Right. So it's like, oh, if Javonte goes down and you've got Melvin, well, what happens if Melvin gets injured? And then they go pick up kind of like a journeyman guy. I could see them doing something like that where they scour the waiver wire like we do in fantasy football. And they're like, okay, like there's a Mike Davis. Baltimore's not using him. He got demoted to the practice roster. Like, let's grab a guy like that because we know he can handle a workload if we have to do that. Yeah.
All right.
Good one.
Like I said, I hope it doesn't happen. It just, rookie running back, Rashad, they were using him to spell Rashad Penny. And now all of a sudden in week 6, it's like, like I said, here's the keys to the car and take off. So I just hope that I mean, last week he was questionable to even play. against the Saints because his shoulder was acting up. So hopefully he's able to remain healthy and deal with the physicality and the rigors that an NFL season has, especially as a running back.
Yeah, and in that division, right?
Yeah.
Good one. Okay, we're a little over time here, but that was fun. I did not think it was going to be as tough to do as something like that. Yeah. As always, Chris, I'm going to give you the last words. What you got for us?
Yeah, guys. Thanks everyone for tuning in to another episode of Ball Hawks Podcast. We really appreciate you guys' support. Be sure to go subscribe to us over on Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Leave us a rating, leave us a review. One of Steve's students is still bringing our ratings down on Apple Podcasts. So if you guys want to go, help us out in that regard, we'd love it. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter. You can find us at ballhawks_pod. Don't forget Steve at ssfisher87. And of course, you can find me as well at Phillips Chris 12. As always, guys, go Hawks.
Peace.